Oh, Dylan.
So we're 2:09 left to go, and the Patriots got a pick 6. So it's 58-34, and the Patriots solidifying their hopes to make it to the semis. Again, Spencer Thompson and Trent Legate on call here. The Extreme Game of the Week, part of 8-Man Extreme. So we're live down here on the field. Of course, Trent making a quick phone call on the side here. I'm just making sure we get some stuff right. Game, and there's a penalty here. The Patriots are kicking off from the 35-yard line in Lighthouse territory. We'll get a shot of that here. It's kicked off, dip back into the end zone, touchback.
Kick goes out of the end zone for a touchback. Now he's going to have the ball first and 10 at their own 15.
So 2:09 left to go. It's a touchback. So the Lions, again, in desperation mode. Essentially. So the Lions looking to try and get a score here, but because it's a 3-possession game, it's essentially, unfortunately, not possible for the Lions to come back and win this game. Well, unless they get some quick touchdowns here. Anything can happen in 8-man football, but a 4-score game.
Yeah, but a good game up to the third quarter. It's really close. Fun to watch. Exciting. That one play, Xavier just caught the punt mid-stride. Mid.
I'm sure we'll get a highlight reel of that as there's a flag, I believe, for false start.
Let's check the Jumbotron.
See if there's where is the Jumbotron around here? I don't see it.
Oh, it's our phone.
Yes, the phone is the Jumbotron. Be like, hey, everybody, look at the Jumbotron. There's a whole crowd of people gathered around the phone, just like, I can't see it. I can't see what's going on here.
Where's the ball?
So make another phone. Trent, make another phone call there and try to do some stuff on our end. As we have just over 2 minutes left as Lighthouse on offense. First down and 15. Toss across the middle is incomplete. Second down and 15.
He sends me the whole list.
1:57 left to go. It's 2nd and 15 for Lighthouse. McDowell just fumbling the ball loose and rule it down. It's 3rd down. The 3rd down and the clock winding down. So the Patriots are going to keep their playoff hopes alive with a much needed win for any hopes to get to the semis. So now, although they're rivals, South Haven will be Christian community fans next week, hoping that their win will put South Haven in the MTAC semis.
Correct snap with Murray. He keeps it.
Here's a rush. McMurray rushing on the right side. Malik McMurray rushing on the right side. Lost in the end zone. Touchdown, Lions. Minute 6 left in the 4th quarter. So, again, there's no Saturday game this week. No more Saturday games until the playoffs. But even with those Saturday games, that'll be the consolation and championship game. We will be broadcasting that on Saturday, November 3rd, I want to say. And a 2-point conversion ruled no good as the player was out of bounds. So 58-40, an 18-point game, 3 scores needed for the Lions. So the Patriots keep their playoff hopes alive. Just wrapping it up here in Springfield.
He's better call you.
You better say something.
Come on, bro. Pick up the phone. Come on, bro. Pick up the phone.
Here's an onside kick attempted by Lighthouse, picked up by the Patriots. So that will essentially do it. The victory formation incoming for South Haven. We'll, of course, get an interview with Coach Sharp and Coach Zimmerman.
Andrew Royalty with the reception. And it's football, 1st and 10 for the Patriots.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. So no mom. Alright. Next match. Pushing your boundaries. Alright, I got it.
All right, so Trent going to take over camera duties now. Trent, you look at how this game is going to go. The other thing that we have to keep into consideration is that if Lighthouse wins next week against Christian Community, then they will be tied in division record at 2-1 with the Colts, and they would have the strength of victory to get first place in the North.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, really crazy.
Oh, fumble.
And fumble.
Left it up. I can't see it because it's really far away.
It's recovered by the Lions, it looks like. Yes, they reverse it, so the Lions get the fumble recovery. It's 52 seconds left.
Oh, he got 53 seconds.
He's got three. Yeah, 18 points scored in 53 seconds.
Like 4 plays. It could happen.
It very well could. Well, they have to get the onside kicks recovered first, or they have to hope fumbles occur again, which is possible, but unlikely at this point. Yeah, but Trent, that's really, you bring up a valid point. It's crazy to think that Lighthouse, even with this one loss, they still have the eligibility to win the MTAC North if they win next week, because Christian Community would be tied at 2-1, and they would have the strength of victory over Christian Community in divisional records. So it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think in any way CCS should. I think everyone else will agree with me. CCS should get first place in the North, but if it somehow happens where they don't, and it somehow happens that they get a bowl game, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of upset people coming to talk to a lot of people. Oh
yeah, there'll be a lot more things considered in divisions, and that will do it. 58-40. Well, actually, wait, there is one. Are they going to do one more play here?
Okay, obviously not. The coach is already.
All right, we're heading on to the field now. 58-40, the Patriots. The Trent waiting for the full time down. The South Haven Patriots, with a must-needed win to keep their playoff hopes alive, remain in contention for the MTAC semis. The Patriots do not control their own destiny, but the Lions can. But the Patriots a must-needed win to keep their eligibility for the MTAC semis. What a victory on senior night for South Haven. Get a shot of of course, the post-game huddles, get the coach's words, and we'll get an interview with Coach Sharp and Coach Zimmerman post-game.
It's Crawley. He's a sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you leave, please drive safely going on, but as you go, pick up the flag, keep the stadium clean.
So again, both of them played a strong game. At Lighthouse needing to win this game to solidify their spot in the semis, but unfortunately, they have to try and control their own destiny against Christian Community next week. But South Haven going to be Christian Community fans next week.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so we'll try and get an interview with Coach Zimmerman and Coach Sharp in just a few moments. Looks like Trent Legate going to try and get the coaches first. Just a few moments. Well, of course, both coaches going to talk to their players first before we get the interviews and such. We'll see if we can get a good shot of the scoreboard. One of our camera angles here. Well, the scoreboard down. There's Trent Legate. There's Trent there. So we'll get a neutral shot up there of the press box. We'll, of course, get both coaches in just a few moments. They're talking to their players, breaking everything down. Now, Trent, let's give some post-game analysis here while these guys are talking. I mean, the score obviously does reflect the game of how it. I mean, the score of a 3-score game. I believe it was a 52 to. I want to say not 40. It's 52 to 38. I'm not remembering the score off the top of my head. But we'll look back at it and review it anyways. But it was a 3-score game at the end. But the final score didn't reflect the game necessarily because it was a 3-score game at the end. But the guys both of them fought hard, persevered, and went through. And we're gonna get Coach Sharp on here in a second, and we will analyze this in just a few moments. There's Coach Dwan Sharp coming on camera.
Hey, Malik, Parker.
So we got Coach Dwan Sharp of the Lighthouse Lions. Now, Coach, I mean, not the result you wanted, but the good news is with this, you still keep your playoff hopes alive for the semis, that if you win against Christian Community, to my knowledge, it would either go to a coin toss or potentially your strength of victory over the Colts. Well, actually, all the records of the 3 teams in the North would be 2-1, so it would come down to the coin toss, which has been a topic of controversy around the league, but that's at least one message you could tell your guys going forward is that if we win next week, we still can have a chance at the semis. But what other good things can you tell your guys going forward?
Man, I was going to tell these guys, man, come out there and compete. That's it, man. We faced adversity before. This season is not lost. This whole season in general was not expected to be a success as we have thus far. So we're just going to get back, man, go back to the lab, get everybody back at practice, work on watch film, work on the things we need to work on, and then move forward.
Your final home game is against Christian Community, who's a powerhouse right now, completely undefeated and such. What are you going to tell your guys going into that game specifically about how to prepare for the arguably the best team in the league?
We're just going to compete. That's it. We're going to do what we can do. I know what we're capable of. Our kids know what we're capable of. Again, we're young. We just got to work on some consistency things. When we compete the best. So we're going to fine-tune what we need to fine-tune, come out there and be ready to compete. That's it.
All right, thank you so much, Coach. Best of luck to you against Christian Community next week. So, all right, so we'll get Coach Jason Zimmerman on camera in just a few moments. We'll get Coach Zimmerman, who his team dumped Gatorade on him post-game and such, as they keep their playoff hopes alive next week. So just to let you know the scenarios, as we mentioned here, I was actually mentioned wrong that if Lighthouse won, they would have strength of victory. That's not true, and Trent will analyze this.
What is it?
So if Lighthouse wins, then it's the 3-way coin toss that we talked about, because all the teams would be 2-1 with South Haven beating Lighthouse, Lighthouse beating Christian Community, and Christian Community beating South Haven. So it would be a 3-way tie for the flip of a coin. So with that, but if Christian Community wins, Christian Community is first, South Haven is second, and Lighthouse is third in the bowl game. So obviously Lighthouse. Look at the camera when I'm talking to you people. Okay, yeah, but it's really interesting to see how it comes down. Zimmerman, man, we gotta get Zimmerman. I mean, you could get both if you want. Get both if you want to. Get both.
No, I'm just gonna get one.
All right, it's your choice. It's your choice, whichever one you want to get, man. Just get them both. Just get them both. All right, so so the Patriots placing the flag in the middle of the field, and South Haven keeps their playoff hopes alive. So now we got head coach, the victorious head coach, Jason Zimmerman. A much-needed victory for you guys to keep your playoff hopes alive. You're certainly going to be Christian Community fans next week because if Christian Community wins, you're in the semis. But we won't talk about that until later, of course. But how does it feel?
Don't let our players
Exactly. How does it feel to just get this victory, a much-needed one, to keep yourselves out of the bowl game?
Well, to come from where they came from last year and to this year, it's just incredible. We talked about how in the game, when we're faced with adversity, how we're going to respond. We felt like if we could fight and stay in it till the fourth quarter, that we would come on top because we'd have more left, and we saw that happen tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what we noticed on the schedule, you were originally posted to travel to the Middle Tennessee Heat, but is there any confirmation on that of if you are actually going through with that game or not?
We will not, because the agreement was if we didn't, well, I guess it depends on what happens with the CCS game. Probably most likely not. Because if there's a chance for us to make the playoffs, which there's a good chance now, we said we want to play that game so we could get ready for playoffs.
Okay, so yeah, so the Heat will have their game scheduled against Sacred Heart in that, and we'll see that. But with next week, you're having your bye week. I'm sure you're going to be watching our broadcast from wherever we cover from. But what are you going to be telling your guys? Are you going to have light practice next week as well as what are you going to tell your guys going forward?
We won't have a light practice all week, but Monday we'll heal up. We won't do too much live hitting and whatever, just like the kids. But we're going to prepare. We're going to find out who we might play and look at some film and that and study it and just get ready for the different type of offenses and defenses we could face.
Yeah, so congratulations to you on the victory, Coach. Your playoff hopes are still alive, so we hope to see you in the playoffs. All right, Trent, to get a shot at this, the Patriots flying enjoying the flag, enjoying the victory as of now. Should we get Crawley on here?
You want to do an interview? 100%. I'm still 100% in the year, right? Told you guys. Told you.
So Crawley telling us he was 100% in the year on his personal predictions for games. He said every game that he would be victorious except for the Christian Community game. The Patriots enjoying all their pictures being taken. All right, Trent, let's move out of here and give our post-game analysis real quick. The Patriots flying the W just like the Chicago Cubs. All right, Trent. As we were saying before all the players started coming in, we got the coaches interviewed. The score didn't reflect the game because it was just 3 scores at the end that the Lighthouse Lions just kind of slumped down and didn't play up their defense. But the good news is for Lighthouse, their playoff hopes are still alive. And as we said to DeJuan Sharper, as he mentioned to us, on the post-game interview, is that he's going to tell his guys to try and get that opportunity and solidify everything next week going into practice and such. But what else in the essence of this game did Lighthouse do wrong? Did South Haven, excel on?
Messed up snaps in the fourth quarter. That really caused 2 turnovers for Lighthouse. Might want to work on that, but that's just discipline right there. And they both played great. They don't need any help on being told what is good for them, what's not. One's going to a bowl game, one's going to the playoffs. We had a great game. Mm-hmm. So they're coached correctly. It's just one team just performed better tonight than the other. Who knew? If they would have played a week before, it might be a whole different score.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, actually, is getting a little bit of statistics wrong on broadcast. That was my fault. But if Lighthouse wins next week, it's a 3-way tie in the coin tosses. A lot of controversy around the league with talking about the whole concept of the coin toss. But again, as we said to Southaven, Coach Zimmerman said, "Don't tell my guys about we want to be Christian community fans next week." But that's a big thing for Southaven, that they're probably going to be watching scores, however that game goes, so that they know if they're in the semis and they need to prepare for whoever's in the South, or if they're in the bowl game and they need to prepare for the other team in the South. So it's going to be crucial to know how that game result is next week. And, of course, they have a bye as they opted not to play the Heat due to them appearing in the playoffs. So they will not be playing the Tennessee Heat. But it's really, really important for them to follow that game to know where they're traveling to.
Yeah.
I gave you a little bit too in-depth on that. But looking at it, which team do you think would be more in favor for Southaven to face? Because it's possible that they will be the second seed, could be the first seed. But which South
FCA.
team you think would be better for them to face FCA?
FCA.
Yeah, because they could be facing against Webb or Swanee.
I think Webb is going to end first. Swanee's going to go to the bowl game against Lighthouse. This is my just prediction. It's going to be CCS. This is semis. CCS versus CCS versus Webb.
You think Webb's going to be the number 2 seed? So here's how it is. Yeah. If I'm making sure you say number 1 seed this team, number 2 seed this seed.
Let me rephrase that. I think FCA is going to be FCA then Webb, and it's going to be CCS and then Southaven.
Okay, you're thinking that for the team. CCS Southaven is CCS number 1 and number 2, and then Webb number 1, FCA number 1. Okay, so you think it's going to be Webb hosting Southaven and Christian Community hosting FCA.
That'll be a great game, but I think FCA is going to come out with that one, and then CCS will, and I think the rivalry that is FCA CCS will happen again, and that's going to be a crazy game. That's going to be different from the way that started in the first of the season.
So you're also predicting that it's going to be Swanee and Lighthouse in the bowl game on that. And that game is hosted at Webb the night before the championship. So that is going to be a really good game for us to see as well, because Lighthouse and Swanee, I don't know how many times they've played each other, but both of those teams, of course, have been strong through the season, just kind of slumping down towards the end in games that they needed to win and I want to say took lightly, but not fully lightly, but it's still going to be good to see those two teams who unfortunately slumped in the end to be able to fight in the bowl.
Yeah, I actually like the bowl game. I know a few people don't, but I like the bowl game because some teams that just aren't good enough to make it there. I mean, not saying they're not good enough; they obviously are.
Their record doesn't show they're good enough to make it to the semis.
But just their record, and so I'm glad there's something for them to fight for. So.
The final score here was an 18-point game, I believe, at 52. If you subtract that by 18, that's 42-40, and 52-34 the final score from, at least to my knowledge. We'll check fully and make sure with the scoreboard, but 52-34 the final score. The Patriots with a must-needed win over the Lions, victorious here at home on their senior night. For Trent Legate and the man watching probably at his house with a bag of chips in hand and whatever else he may have in hand, I'm Spencer Thompson on behalf of Trent Legate and James Shannon. Thank you for tuning in. Extreme Radio built by MDI Construction Inc. is on Sunday at 4 p.m. We will be going over all of the games from this and as well as announcing the games we're broadcasting for the final week of regular season play. So thank you for tuning in to the Extreme Game of the Weekend. We will see you on Sunday. Good night, everyone.